They called us adventurers, explorers, fools rushing in where angels fear to tread. My name is Dr. Julian Wolfe, and my obsession is the pursuit of the unknown. This time it led me to the edge of the map, to the hushed whispers of a forgotten temple, a place spoken of only in terrified murmurs by the locals. The rumors were vague, fragmented whispers of ritual sacrifice and an ancient evil. But the whispers also spoke of unimaginable treasures, artifacts untouched by time. The jungle was relentless. Days bled into weeks as we hacked our way through the dense vegetation. The jungle seemed to press in, suffocating, trying to swallow us whole. But still we pressed on, driven by the promise of the temple and the secrets it held. A palpable sense of dread hung in the air, heavy and suffocating. Even the most hardened member of our team couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. The jungle finally relented, spitting us out into a clearing choked with overgrown vines and the debris of centuries. And there it stood, the Bone Temple. Even through the lens of time and decay, its presence was overwhelming. It wasn't the size that stunned us, though it was massive, but the sheer wrongness of it. The architecture was unlike anything I'd ever seen, a twisted mockery of traditional temples. The stone was a bleached bone white, carved with grotesque figures, contorted faces frozen in eternal screams. We had found the Bone Temple, but the closer we got, the more apparent it became that we weren't here to explore. The air grew noticeably colder as we approached the entrance. A low, guttural moan seemed to emanate from the very stones themselves. The entrance was flanked by two enormous doors, carved from what appeared to be a single piece of bone. I remember the click of my flashlight echoing in the silence as we stepped across the threshold. The stench hit us instantly, a rancid, cloying odor of decay and something else, something metallic and ancient. The air was thick with it, almost choking. My hand trembled as I raised the flashlight, the beam slowly revealing the true horror of the Bone Temple. It wasn't stone. The entire temple, the walls, the arches, the very altar at the far end of the chamber was constructed entirely of human bones. Skulls stared back at us with empty sockets, their bone structure eerily perfect, preserved by some unknown force. Rib cages, some impossibly large, formed archways leading deeper into the darkness. The air was heavy, thick with the weight of countless deaths. Each step we took echoed in the vast chamber, the sound bouncing off the bone walls, distorted and amplified. We pressed on, deeper into the charnel house. The air grew colder, heavy with the stench of decay. Our small circle of light danced across the walls, revealing ever more horrific details. Finger bones arranged in intricate patterns, femurs stacked like firewood, skulls with their teeth filed to points. It wasn't just the sheer number of bodies that chilled me to the core, but the way they were assembled. This wasn't the haphazard work of a madman. This was deliberate, meticulous, an intricate tapestry of death crafted with a chilling artistry. The silence was broken only by the sound of our own breathing and the frantic thumping of our hearts. A low groan echoed through the chamber. So faint at first I thought I'd imagined it. But then it came again, louder this time. A deep, guttural sound that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. The other explorers exchanged uneasy glances, their faces illuminated by the stark beam of my flashlight. "Did you hear that?" whispered Sarah, our historian. Before anyone could answer, the wall behind her rippled. Bones shifted, grinding against each other with a sickening crunch. Sarah stumbled back, a gasp escaping her lips. The wall pulsed again, and this time a single bone, a bleached white femur, shot out from the wall, spinning towards us with unnatural speed. We huddled together, a small island of light in the oppressive darkness. The wall continued to writhe, bones clinking and grinding against each other. And then, from the writhing mass of bone, a hand emerged. Not a hand of flesh and blood, but a grotesque parody of one formed from countless smaller bones fused together. The fingers, tipped with sharpened bone shards, scraped across the floor as it reached towards Mark, who lay whimpering on the ground. Mark screamed, a high-pitched, desperate sound that echoed in the deathly silence of the temple. The bone hand closed around his ankle, its grip vice-like, and dragged him towards the wall. With a sickening crunch, he was pulled into the wall, his screams abruptly cut off. We were left in stunned silence, staring at the spot where Mark had been. Mark's screams echoed in the silence, a stark reminder of the fate that awaited us all. Fear, primal and consuming, threatened to overwhelm me. We were rabbits caught in a snare, waiting for a predator to return for its meal. "We have to get out of here," I yelled, my voice cracking with a terror I couldn't disguise. But where could we go? The walls pulsed around us, a macabre heartbeat drumming out a rhythm of death. Jake, our engineer, charged at a wall, ramming his shoulder against the interlocking bones. The impact reverberated through the chamber, a dull thud that echoed in the silence. But the wall held firm, the bones unyielding, mocking his futile attempt at escape. A low groan, like the sigh of a dying god, echoed through the chamber. The ceiling, a tapestry of fused skulls and femurs, rippled, sending a shower of bone dust cascading down upon us. It was as if the temple itself was awakening, its slumber disturbed by our presence. We huddled together, our flashlights creating a small island of light in the encroaching darkness. The air grew thick with the coppery tang of blood and the stench of decay. Then, a blood-curdling scream split the air, sharp and desperate. Maya, our linguist, her eyes wide with terror, was being pulled towards a wall. Her screams were cut short, replaced by the grinding of bone on bone as the wall sealed itself. We were picked off one by one. Each scream, each sickening crunch of bone chipped away at our sanity, our dwindling hope. Jake, his face a mask of rage and despair, lashed out with a bone club he'd fashioned from a fallen femur. His efforts were met with the same mocking silence, the same unsettling groans emanating from the depths of the temple. Our movements became frantic, desperate. The temple was a living organism, its appetite insatiable, its hunger fed by our terror and despair. And then, as if mocking our plight, a single bloodshot eye opened within the wall where Maya had been absorbed. Panicked, I stumbled back, my foot catching on a stray rib bone. I fell, the air knocked from my lungs, my flashlight skittering across the bone floor. I scrambled in the darkness, my hands encountering nothing but cold, smooth bone. The air was thick with the stench of decay, the silence broken only by the frantic thumping of my own heart. Then I felt it, a cold hand, skeletal and strong, closing around my ankle. I screamed, a desperate primal sound that echoed in the vast chamber, but it was no use. The last thing I saw before the darkness consumed me was the monstrous maw of the temple opening up. The bone hand released its grip, dropping me onto a pile of skulls that shifted and clattered beneath me. I scrambled back, my heart pounding against my ribs like a frantic bird in a cage. The darkness was absolute, the silence broken only by the rasp of my own breath and the echo of my own terror. I was lost, disoriented. The temple was a labyrinth of bone, each turn leading to another dead end. My hands, scraped raw, encountered nothing but cold, unforgiving bone. And then I saw it. A faint glow emanating from the depths of the temple. It was an eerie green, like the phosphorescent light of deep-sea creatures. And it pulsed with a rhythm that seemed to coincide with the frantic beating of my own heart. The chamber was vast, its ceiling lost in the shadows. The air was thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the occasional drip of water echoing through the darkness. The green glow emanated from a pulsating orb suspended in the center of the room. It cast an otherworldly light, illuminating the ancient walls with a sickly hue. Beneath the orb, a pit yawned, its depths unfathomable, filled with a seemingly endless mass of bones. The sight was both mesmerizing and horrifying, and then I saw her, Sarah. Her presence was a stark contrast to the desolation around us. She was huddled on the far side of the chamber, her back to me, her body racked with sobs. Her pain was palpable, echoing through the vast emptiness. Relief, sharp and unexpected, washed over me. She was alive. Despite the horrors surrounding us, there was a glimmer of hope. "Sarah!" I called out, my voice hoarse, echoing in the vast chamber. She didn't respond. The silence that followed was deafening. As I approached, I noticed the markings etched into the bones surrounding the pit. They told a story of ancient rituals and sacrifices. They were crude but clearly depicted human figures being sacrificed, their bodies absorbed into the glowing orb. This wasn't an escape, it was a trap. This was the heart of the temple, the source of its power. The orb pulsed with a life of its own, feeding on the souls of the sacrificed. "Julian," she whispered, her voice a raspy echo of its former self. It was as if the very air around us had stolen her strength, leaving her a mere shadow of the vibrant woman she once was. "You found it. We found it. The heart of the temple, the culmination of our relentless search, driven by an insatiable curiosity that now seemed more like a curse than a blessing. The source of its power. A power that was both mesmerizing and terrifying, drawing us in with its otherworldly glow. Her eyes, once filled with intelligence and warmth, were now hollow, reflecting the eerie green glow of the orb. It was as if the artifact had drained her very soul, leaving behind an empty vessel. "Sarah," I said, my voice barely a whisper. The weight of the situation pressed down on me, making it hard to breathe. "We have to get out of here. This place is evil." Every shadow seemed to pulse with malevolence, and the walls themselves felt alive, watching us. She laughed, a high-pitched, chilling sound that echoed in the vast chamber. It was a laugh devoid of joy, filled instead with a madness that sent shivers down my spine. "This place is life, Julian," she said, her voice filled with an eerie conviction. Her words were like a twisted mantra echoing in the oppressive silence. "Don't you see? It's given us a gift." Her eyes gleamed with a fervor that was both unsettling and heartbreaking. She took a step towards me, her movements slow and deliberate, as if she were savoring the moment. The bone, now glowing faintly green, clutched tightly in her hand. It pulsed with a sinister energy, casting eerie shadows on the walls. "The temple needs to feed, Julian," she whispered, her voice dripping with a chilling certainty. Her words hung in the air, heavy and foreboding. "And you're the sacrifice." The realization hit me like a physical blow, leaving me reeling. The truth of her words slammed into me, cold and brutal. I could feel the temple's hunger, a palpable force that seemed to close in around me. I was trapped not just by the bone temple and its gruesome hunger, but by the madness that had consumed my friend. The walls seemed to close in, suffocating me with their ancient malevolence. But by the madness that had consumed my friend, the woman who had once been a beacon of reason and light. Her transformation was a stark reminder of the temple's corrupting influence, the woman who had once been a beacon of reason and light. Her descent into madness was a tragic testament to the temple's dark power, and in that moment I knew with a chilling certainty that there was no escape from this place. The temple had claimed us, body and soul. The bone temple would have its due, its ancient hunger would be sated, and we were powerless to stop it. "Don't you see, Julian? This is the end of the road for us." Her voice echoed in the vast chamber, thin and reedy, yet laced with an unnerving power. It reverberated off the ancient stone walls, filling the space with an eerie resonance. It had to be this way. The temple chose us. It chose me. We were destined for this moment, bound by forces beyond our understanding. She brandished the bone, its runes glowing with a sickly green light, casting an ominous glow on her face, and a chilling understanding washed over me. The realization hit me like a tidal wave, leaving me breathless. The temple didn't just claim lives, it twisted them, corrupted them, turning them into something unrecognizable, turning its victims into instruments of its will. They became mere puppets, their strings pulled by an unseen hand. I stumbled back, my hand scraping against the cold bone floor. The pain was sharp, a cruel reminder of my reality. There was nowhere left to run. The walls seemed to close in, trapping me in this nightmare. The air hummed with a malevolent energy, a palpable force that seemed to seep into my very bones. The green light pulsing in sync with the growing terror that threatened to consume me. Each pulse was like a heartbeat, a countdown to my doom. Sarah advanced, her shadow stretching towards me, a dark specter of what she once was, a grotesque mockery of an embrace. It was as if the shadow itself was alive, reaching out to ensnare me. "We'll be together, Julian, forever," she whispered, her voice a chilling rasp, part of something greater, part of the temple. Her words were both a promise and a curse. Her words were a promise and a threat, a glimpse into the abyss that awaited me, a glimpse into the abyss that awaited me. The darkness seemed to beckon, a void that promised no return. And as the green light engulfed me, I felt myself slipping, my grip on reality fading, my senses dulling, my grip on reality fading, replaced by a chilling acceptance of my fate. There was no fighting it anymore, replaced by a chilling acceptance of my fate. The temple had won, and I was its final offering. The jungle, ever patient, ever hungry, reclaims its own. Vines thick as pythons wind their way across the bone-white stones, weaving a shroud of green over the temple's entrance. The wind whispers through the ribcage archways, carrying with it the faint, mournful echo of countless screams. The bone temple stands silent, its hunger sated for now, but deep within its bone-filled chambers, a faint green light still flickers, a testament to the temple's power, its hunger, its enduring legacy of bone. And in the silence, a single chilling truth remains. The jungle may hide the bone temple, but it can never truly contain it. For the temple is always listening, always watching, waiting for the next unsuspecting soul to stumble across its path, waiting for the next offering.